And we're live.
And we're on. Hi.
Hi. That's really weird because my computer says it's 6:59 and the stream said it was time to go live, and I thought I had set it for 7 o'clock.
Well,
I hope I didn't screw up.
we may say hi again.
We may. Well, we're definitely live.
Okay.
It's good. It's all good.
Okay.
So you just got back from travels.
I was in Colorado a couple of weeks ago. Yes.
Has it been a couple of weeks?
Yeah, don't forget that my husband and I ended up with COVID.
Oh my gosh.
So that kind of took a week away.
Right.
Yeah.
A week away. I forgot all about that. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah. So yeah, we were out in Colorado in Denver for about 5 days visiting with family and celebrating people.
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 Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Just
Like all the people.
Well, all
like
the people.
family.
Like family, yeah. Just being with the family, which is what we do when we go out to Colorado, because our son and daughter-in-law, and we have 2 grandchildren out there with their spouses.
Ginni has grandchildren with spouses.
Right, and there are currently right there 4 great-grandchildren with another great-grandchild on the way in October.
My goodness.
So it's a reason to go out and to be with them and to celebrate being with them.
So nice.
Because we don't, we get out there a couple of times a year.
Do you a couple times a
Yeah,
year?
a couple of times a year. Mm-hmm.
And they come out a couple times a year.
Well, we get together with my son and daughter-in-law, right?
Yeah, but not everybody.
But not everybody, because it's hard when, they got children.
Right.
There's grandchildren have children, and what it's like when you're trying to make travel arrangements with children.
Right, I get it.
School schedules, sports schedules, because they are now into things like, the oldest great-grandchild is, Aubrey. She is going into 1st grade.
Wow.
So she's been in kindergarten, and then the younger ones, because of work schedules, they are in daycares. Mm-hmm. So, it's hard to change all of the scheduling. Mm-hmm. So, and which is why it was interesting when my husband and I had our children, and we weren't living close to either set of parents. Mm-hmm. We used to go down to New Jersey, where my family was, and to Virginia, where his family was. And it was sort of one of those things where we did it for a number of years. And then I distinctly remember driving back from Virginia in a snowstorm.
Because you went there for Christmas.
We went there, well, we would go for the holidays, as well as sometime during the summer. But we were coming back, and we were in a snowstorm. Actually, it was Easter. It was not Christmas. It was Easter.
So what year was that?
Oh, good grief.
You had children, and they were little.
We had children. They were young. They were probably maybe 6.
Was it 1969?
Something.
Because that was a huge
snowstorm. That's probably what
right?
it was. Right. Yeah. So Jennifer would have been 8 and Chucky would have been 5. Yeah. So yeah, we were driving back, and someplace in Connecticut, because we were living in New Hampshire at the time. And yes, 69, we would have been in New Hampshire. And we're driving back, and this has been this horrible drive, up, the turnpike, and that started, even in those days, it was horrible. And we're coming back, and somewhere in Connecticut, I looked at my husband and I said, "Never again, they can visit us. Grandparents are only 2, we are 4.
I think and you know what? You've lived that out.
We have lived that out. We have absolutely lived that out. When our kids got married and started having children, we said, okay, we're the ones that are going to travel.
Yeah.
So we traveled.
Well, let's see who's joined us. Hey, Maria and Jal and Ellen. Nice to see you. Hi, Barbara. Hey there, Terry and Colleen. And I know her name. You know what? I know her name, and I can't think of it.
And I don't
she has a beautiful little baby boy who's growing up fast.
He's growing up fast.
Yes. Okay. Well, remind me. Hey, Colleen and Terry. So
well,
nice to see you.
These glasses aren't helping in the least for that small print over there. So
okay. So very fun. Yeah. So I've sort of been thinking about how I'm going to work this. Everybody asks me, oh, you have a grandbaby. How many times when are you going to go see that baby again? And I'm like, I know I have to, and I want to. It's just really hard to get it sorted out.
It is hard to get it sorted out, and particularly since both Elizabeth and Andrew have jobs.
Right.
And so they're working out their schedules.
Right. I mean, I could come anytime. They don't care.
Yeah.
But,
well, you can't come anytime because you have this business.
I do. I mean, I do. I have, and my mother was not, she was sort of not that busy, right? And I was an only child, and I was sort of, overbearingly her life, and I never wanted to be that. I wanted to have a life of my own that I found fulfilling, whether I had children or not, so anyway. So it's sort of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It is a double-edged sword, but I think you'll work it out. You'll figure out what is the best solution of time for them and time for yourself and time for the business.
Right.
Because you do have the business, and I admire Ellen no end for doing this, because when I worked in retail, and people would say to me, would you like to open a place of your own? And I look at them and I said, you have to marry the business. And that's really, when push comes to shove, I mean, we were just talking.
Kimberly Witzel.
Oh, Kimberly Witzel.
Kimberly.
Oh, Kimberly. Okay. Right. When push comes to shove, yes, I mean, we love working here. Mary and Nicole and Whitney and Jenny and I mean, we all love being here at the shop. But Ellen has always been very clear about our families come first, which means that if everybody has something else going on, who stays? The owner. The owner stays,
right,
because that's where it ends up. And so I do admire Ellen that she is willing to give up that time so that we can continue to spend time with our families, particularly me, since I don't have family here.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, you do.
Well, I have Ellen. I have Ellen. I have that. No,
yes,
I do. I have Ellen, and I have my husband. Right.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, and that's sort of why I like having a yarn store instead of a brain surgery outfit, because if I have to close, nobody is going to die because they're not getting their double-pointed needles, right? They can wait until Monday to get their double-pointed needles. So I kind of like that. It's not a crisis. If we have to close the store because we have an emergency, yeah. All right, let's see. Okay, hey there. All right, let's see. Rita is, I am interested in the logistics as visiting as I'm facing my daughter. Yes. So I think, Rita, I think it's like, I always talk about, you have to put the big rocks in first. You get the jar, and if you put the sand and the water in first, nothing's going to fit. But if you put the big rocks in, and the big rocks are those things that are like really important. Like I knew this was going to be a crazy year with needing to go to Elizabeth with the baby and Colton's graduation and the wedding. And, oh my goodness. So those are the big things, right. And then you put everything else sort of around it. And you have to look in the camera.
I know we have to look. I have to look at the camera. I want to look at I want to look at us, but I want to look at Ellen. But I think what's great about the team that we have here, okay, is that we all understand each other's needs and issues and family, times, and so we are really good about that. I think we are really good about that, and we try to accommodate everybody, that of what their needs are, what their times are.
Right.
And since Ellen tasked me a number of years ago with the schedule, and so I send a thing out to everybody and say, okay, we got to talk about September, right? It's the beginning of August,
right?
And,
right.
And people are really good about responding and saying, well, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I'm not available for this,
Right.
So,
well, you've done a really great job too of not just saying arbitrarily, here's the schedule, live with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, we really try to work around everybody's plans.
Yeah.
So, as much as we possibly can.
so did you get any knitting done while you were traveling?
I did.
Let's
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk
Okay.
about it.
All right. So
So you guys know that we have Melanie Berg zooming in on Saturday. She is the most amazing designer. She does shawls. She has a new book coming out too. Did you know
really?
that?
No, I didn't know
It's
that.
a book on sweaters.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
always thought of her more as a shawl person. Yeah, but she
Same.
does. Yeah.
Same, but I think she's kind of in that zone where Isabel Kramer, she's doing the top
okay.
down. She reminds me kind of that ilk, right? But, bringing the same creativity. And so she's going to be zooming in with us. And I asked her today via email if she could maybe talk about her book too.
Oh, okay.
Because that would be fun
Great.
to carry her book.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so show us what you got.
So when we knew that Melanie was going to be coming and we were going to be doing the Zoom, right? Nicole, our favorite designer, and Nicole
And hand
hand-dyer. Nicole and Mary are very much what I think they're into shawls far more than I'm into shawls.
We're the
right?
sweater girls.
We're more the sweater girls. So, but Nicole came in with some things that that Melanie had designed, of some possibilities of things, and that she could dye yarns
Custom for the
custom for the kits thing. So we decided, it was a group decision, that we decided that the one we really liked was the Verdant. And the Verdant is more than a shawl, it's a wrap.
Yeah, you like it because it's almost a garment.
Yeah, it's almost a garment. It's a big wrap, sort of thing. And it takes 4 colors. And so we played around, Nicole brought in some, her little samples and we laid them out on the table and we all kind of looked and said, ooh, I like this one, I like this one, I like this one. I like the way these go together and stuff. So we put together some, combinations. And so Nicole brought back the samples of what we had done. She had full skeins of the colors that we had chosen. Mary took her kit, I took my kit, and Nicole took her kit. So
I did not commit to a kit. I have too much going on.
Ellen's busy with some other stuff that she's doing, right? So
yes, Ellen, you are very lucky to have your grandkids close.
Right.
Oh my God, an hour away.
So
Ooh, Ellen wants to know, did you take the Delaque bag on your trip?
I did not take the Delaque bag on my trip. What I took was, I don't know whether I have it with me or not. Oh yeah, here it is. It's an Attenti little. I had a little Attenti thing,
So you just had a little
I have a
guy.
little Attenti thing, which is great for a plane, carrying a project in a plane. That was what I was in my lap, fascinating my seat companions because my husband and I never sit in the same row.
Because you both like aisle seats.
We both like aisle seats, right? So anyway, I started the Verdant with the first 2 colors because that was what I knew I could handle on the plane, was just the first 2 colors.
Because these are basically 3 of the same neutrals plus a pop.
Plus a pop.
Right?
So this was what I was doing on the plane, was just it's garter. It's basically garter, and you can see, get it up there.
Yep, we can see. Very pretty.
So,
Ooh, this red is really red.
Then what you get to is after you get sections 1 and 2 done, you start with section 3, which is basically short rows going in, right?
Yes.
And so I've been tracking.
That looks so good.
Right. So I am really, really happy with this.
And you're enjoying doing it?
I am enjoying doing it, given that I'm not normally a garter person.
So what is it that makes this cool?
I think it's the fact that you're changing the color and you're increasing 1 stitch every other row.
And it's a consistent symmetrical increase?
It's a consistent symmetrical thing, which works well with my head.
Same.
Right?
Same. I can't do it like every third row, then every second row.
This is definitely, you do 30 rows where you're increasing one stitch with this color, and then you do two rows with the coordinating color, and then you go back to 30 rows, and so it's very regular.
Right. I like regular.
Yeah. So
Verdon.
Verdon.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And we do have the 3 different color kits. Nicole has prepared those.
Right. And so there's one that has this beautiful blue-red, and there's one that has like a really hot orchid, like a really intense, like 1984 lipstick.
Yeah,
kind of color.
and mine, and I think
There. Okay. I do not know why this is happening. That's very frustrating. Okay. Yep. Now we should have the sound back, yes? Yes.
okay.
But it's just going off by itself. I think. Did you see that? It just went. It just went. Okay. Well, we're going to keep an eye on that.
Okay. Well,
All right.
Ellen's going to keep an eye since
I'm
I
gonna
can't
keep-
see it.
So Mary, I just saw Mary's on there. Mary, how are you doing on your Verdon? Verdon.
Verdon.
Verdon, is that how you pronounce-
Verdon.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's a Verdon.
Yeah. Okay. So now we do have sound.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
So I've been knitting on.
She's been doing Susan.
I've been knitting on the Susan. Coming right along on my Susan. I don't think I have. I don't think I have 14 inches yet.
No, I don't think you have 14 inches
I'm
yet.
not even sure I have 12 inches yet.
So I will have to tell you about when my daughter-in-law Susan was working on this, right? And I'm sending her instructions on how to do it. Susan's been knitting for a couple of years now. She actually did do a fairly complicated sweater prior to this when she wanted to do something more, a lot simpler. And so we're emailing back and forth, right? And I'm writing the thing, and I'm sending her, more pages of what to do and this sort of thing. And I inadvertently, when I was typing it, I had a typo, and I put, instead of titling the thing Susan Shell, I titled it Susan Shall. And so then I realized what I had done, so I sent another note to her that it said, okay, Susan shall knit a Susan shell.
There you go.
So that's been kind of the family thing of, the Susan shell that she shall knit.
Right. You shall. So you shall knit.
You shall
Thou
knit
shalt
a Susan
knit this.
shell.
Right. So it's a really cute little shell. Did we talk about that last week? Did I have it last week?
I think you had it on a little bit with Whitney, right?
Okay,
when you
I
were
don't
talking
know.
with Whitney. Yeah.
So we had Andrea in here. So Andrea is our adorable photographer, and she's very young.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, she's
a college
Colton's
student.
age.
She's a college
She's
student.
almost ready to graduate, so like 21.
Yeah.
So we had
Just
we
mere
had-
child.
yes, a baby, younger than my oldest child, same age as my youngest. So I had her take a picture of all of us wearing it, not at the same time.
Right. That would be hard.
First, Ginny was wearing it, and then I was wearing it, and then she was wearing it, and I took her picture with her camera. So that was kind of fun, and I think it's going to be a really good sort of multi. Any age can wear it, and so I'm excited about that. Right? All good. Yes. So what else is going on?
What else is going on?
What's that other thing you're knitting over there?
Oh, this.
Oh, yes. This is on the cover of the lookbook. So cute.
So I got this done before I went on, the trip to Colorado. I got one side done.
This is so pretty.
And then, unfortunately, I'm still on the ribbing of the front.
What is your gauge on this? This seems nice and drapey.
It is pretty drapey. It's on gauge, whatever the
Yeah, I'm
gauge
sure
is
it
supposed to
is.
be.
I'm
Whatever
just
it's
curious,
supposed to be.
like 5.5
I don't remember.
probably.
Yeah.
Boy, that's pretty. This is going to be so cute.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I just haven't had much opportunity to continue to work on it because I was busy trying to get this done. And this is rather compelling, you know, this truly is compelling of, you know, I got to do one more red section and then I do something different.
Oh, it's kind of like working with Noro. You're looking for the color to come out.
And something is going to happen here, or something else is, you know, it's going to go this way now. Instead of this way, it's going to go that way.
And you're going to knit all the way across.
Yeah.
Resolving your short rows.
Well,
oh, you resolve them as you go, don't you?
I resolve them as I go, but I'm only going to go up to about here. And then I'm going to have to start going the other way.
Okay.
So, apparently. So, you know, even though it's good practice to read through all of the instructions, sometimes it doesn't really make total sense until you start doing it.
That's the thing about shawls. I think it's sometimes hard to visualize.
Yeah.
You know what I was doing when you came in?
You were on the computer when I came in.
Yes. You know what I was putting in?
No.
Tea.
Oh, tea.
So we have, you guys know that we always do a Rowan tea to celebrate the launch of the Rowan line. And, you know, Nicole is Tea Time Fibers. So there's this whole kind of tea theme going through. And we, this year, for the people who can't attend the tea, we're doing an afternoon tea box. And it's going to have lots of yummy things, including these beautiful teas. But we liked the whole concept so much that I'm bringing in Harney and Sons tea. So yeah, so we will have that.
You'll be selling tea.
I know, and yeah, and we set up. We kind of fixed the whole front up there.
Yeah.
I think that looks good. So
yeah, we got new shelving up in the
shelving up
corner
there.
by the window, by the front window.
So if you guys are into that, Ellen, I know you like the hot cinnamon spice, and I did buy that. So yeah.
I'm a strict old time, you know, black English.
Well, we have that too,
right? Yeah, yeah. Black tea, English breakfast, or you know.
You don't like
Earl Grey.
You do like
I do like Earl Grey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's from many years ago when I was a kid in school.
Earl Grey.
Well, my mother is Scottish, and so when I would come home from school in the afternoon, we would have a cup of tea.
I always did that for my kids. Yes. When they came, that was their afternoon snack when they came home from school. After school snack.
After school snack.
Yeah.
My school was over at 3:15 in those days, and I lived across the street from the school, so I was home at 3:20.
What is the for Ginny's shawl? Okay, so that is Verdon.
Verdon.
And I put the name in. I didn't put.
Verdon.
Whoops, I don't want that.
By Melanie Berg.
Yes, Verdon. I don't have the link here, but I'll put the name in. I'm hesitant to touch this computer lest it take our sound away. Did it go? Yes, Verdon. Okay, so yes, very pretty.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm excited about that. And we also got some other little fun things in. So what do you think about that? You know, we'll have some tea in here, and you know, be able to order that. I can put together like little gifty things, like with the Bridgerton boxes. I'm putting tea in that because I guess that's sort of how it started. Is the
I think
Bridgerton
so. Yeah,
boxes.
the Bridgerton box, right? Of sort of the English thing.
Yeah. The tea. Because it is such a British thing.
Nice.
You know, people say English when they mean British, as you know.
Right. Yes. Well, you know, given that I've got a granddaughter living in Britain.
Oh, right. Okay, so this
and
is
she is becoming very Brit.
Is she?
Yeah.
She doesn't drink coffee anymore?
I don't know whether she drinks coffee, but she does refer to jumpers.
Oh, okay. Well,
you all know what a jumper is in Britain. It's what you call a sweater.
Yeah, a jumper.
A
right,
jumper.
Absolutely. So I have to think about that because I think most of the people in the Rowan Connect class are British.
Are British.
Yeah.
Right. They're,
So-
so they're going to make jumpers.
They make jumpers.
They make
yeah,
jumpers.
which is great. I love it.
Yeah.
So I guess last week I mentioned when I was talking with Whitney this trip to England to see Rowan and have the workshop with Martin Story and Georgia Farrell and Lisa Richardson. And I was working with Shirley at Cole Travel, who is the travel agent here, and she has a counterpart in Great Britain that she works with, who put together a tour for us. And guess where they're going? Guess where they are trying to send us? And I think this would be a great addition. Leeds and Bath.
Leeds and Bath?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I thought, okay, well, we could see Kaylee maybe.
Yes, my granddaughter lives in Bath. I won't be going on the trip to England with the group here because she's getting married next July, and we will be over there in July. And one trip to England a year, I think, is about all I can handle.
Yes.
But she has a connection with a yarn store.
She does.
And you may have, Ellen has had Kaylee on one of the podcasts when she was over here last year, last summer. She was on one of the podcasts with Ellen. But she does a regular, what they refer to as a vlog.
Right.
Right. With the owner of a place called A Yarn Story in Bath.
Who's American, interestingly
She's
enough.
American, yes, she is an American, but she has lived overseas, I think, most of her adult life.
Is she an expat? Is that what they call that? I mean, has she
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
changed her citizenship? and
No, I
everything?
don't think she's changed her citizenship. Now, expats are still Americans.
I
They
see.
just are living overseas.
I see.
So, as far as I know, right? But at any rate, Kaylee doesn't. She's not there on a regular basis at the shop, but she does do the vlog, and she is in the shop, once in a while when they need somebody, because she has a full-time job with the British government.
Yeah.
She has triple citizenship. So,
What's the triple one?
Irish.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is her father Irish?
Her grandparents and her father are Irish.
Okay,
Right.
but living in very cool.
But living in Great Britain.
Yeah,
Right.
she's so awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so
so-
glad she's getting married. She's got the cutest fiance, and they're just an adorable couple.
Right.
So that's very cool. Okay, so we have some questions. When is the Rowan blanket pattern coming out? I think I need more felted tweed. Okay, so
the
the
blanket,
snow
the snow flower is coming out on the
that comes
17th.
out on the 17th, and I have kits all put together for that. So don't you worry, we have those
We
in
have them.
stock.
Right.
A blanket, I don't remember a blanket, but yes, you definitely need more felted tweed.
If it's a blanket, you're going to need more felted tweed.
I needed more felted tweed. I can't believe. I mean, we have 8 bins of felted tweed in the back, and I still needed to order more
Right.
felted tweed. I think that's why they do this.
Yeah, I think so. Probably, Well, I mean, it was like last year when Martin Story came out with the blanket and the pillow and thing of the little squares, which I'm still carrying around in my car. It's my car project.
Oh, there you go. I have a
Right.
project like that.
Right.
So Barbara says she read today that 3 billion cups of tea are drunk a day worldwide. I love it. 3 billion.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
Because if you're British, you're drinking a cuppa in the morning.
In the morning,
probably
and
at
then
11's,
and,
afternoon tea, and then
right,
at high tea.
High tea, perhaps just,
Just cause.
Well, I'm just thinking about I'm sure there are pub visits between teas.
Maybe, yeah.
There's pub visits.
When we were in Scotland, and my mother fell and was in hospital, as they say,
in
not
hospital.
in the hospital, but
in
in
hospital.
hospital at 2 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon, they began wheeling these carts around of tea, right? And I was like, how incredibly lovely.
Right.
It was so nice.
What could be better for you
So
than a cuppa?
nice. All right, so let's see. Jal says she would love to see you and Kaylee and Jen on the Yarn Story podcast. And you guys will be over there.
Yeah,
That would be a fun thing.
Actually, Jennifer is going to be over there for one of their retreats in November, because Kaylee asked if she would come over for it. So my daughter, Jennifer, Kaylee's mom, some people understand this whole thing, right?
Yes.
Some people, if you're new, you don't know, But she's going over for a yarn story retreat, and I think it's in Bath. I think it's at one of the hotel in Bath in November. So I'll let Jen know that we need to set something up, and let Jen and Kaylee know we need to set something up when we're all over there next July. She's getting married on Bastille Day.
That was just a random pick, right? That wasn't purposeful.
I think it was because of what was available for the place that they wanted to do it at.
Yeah.
So it's in the wedding venue is actually in Somerset. My
lovely British
geography
names there are.
for England is not that great. So I know Leeds is up north, not far from the Scottish border. Not too far. You probably will fly into Manchester because that's the easiest way to get. Can take a train from Manchester.
No,
to
we're
Leeds.
flying. I mean, you might. We're flying into London.
Into London.
Yeah,
and then
because we're going to stay in London a few days to see the Victoria and Albert Museum.
And then you'll take either take a flight up or a train up.
We have a driver.
A driver.
We have a driver and it's a small group because I'm making this a very small
Oh,
group.
okay.
So that'll be.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah. Because when we were up north before, that was what, 6 years ago, we were up there. We went to go visit. Kaylee was living in Sheffield at the time, which is not far from Leeds. Again, not far from the Scottish border.
Yeah. So we just need to find a place to hold the classes because Rowing used to have a flagship store there called the Osprey or something like that, but they've lost that flagship store. So, and I mean, apparently their offices are, just
offices.
Yeah,
They're
just
offices.
offices. They're not, it's like when you go to France and you go to Champagne and you think, oh, this is where the champagne is made, and you go and you see all the caves and everything. And it's like, no, none of it's made here. It's all made in Epernay in great big steel silos. It's not romantic at all.
No.
So we're going to make it very fun, and I think having the workshops will be really nice.
Yeah, it'll be.
So, yeah, I think that'll be good. Let's see. Is there okay, let's see. Oops, another snowflower, snowblower. No, okay. So the I should call that the snowblower,
right?
The snowflower kit is not online yet. I'm not allowed to put it online until the 17th. But yes, if you send me an email, I will hold you one for sure. We do have a limited number.
Yeah.
It's a large limited number, but it is still a limited number. So is there an estimate for the cost of the trip? There is not yet. I have just gotten the estimates for the coach and the hotels, so I'm still having to look at all the other expenses that go into this with the with the workshops and everything, right? So I will get that out as soon as I can because I know you're interested, Donna, and that'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. Rita had a cup of tea for breakfast. Morning tea, lunch. It's always a good time for a cup of tea, I think, right? Mm-hmm. We should have tea when we do this. That would be nice. Right. Rita had had a fabulous caramel vanilla rooibos. Is that
That's a tea.
That's a tea?
Rooibos is a tea.
Okay.
Right.
Clearly, I don't know enough about it.
Oh, okay.
I wondered. That was the name for one of...
Rooibos, I think, it comes from... It's not India.
Ceylon?
Ceylon, maybe, the rooibos. It's Rooibos.
It was
remember,
I do.
There was there was a color of Rowan 4-ply. I think
and
it was the 4-ply.
Red.
It was rooibos.
It was like
red.
a burgundy red.
It's a red tea. Yeah, it's a red tea.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So,
very interesting. Well, Tea Time has, they have their new colors.
Oh, yeah.
So these are the colors. Speaking of
those
Tea
are
Time.
August.
So these are the August colorways. This is blue crabs because summer. How do you say it? Oh, Ellen's corrected my pronunciation. Thank you. Let's see. It is pronounced rooibos.
Rooibos?
Rooibos.
Okay.
Okay, good to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
I always want to do it correctly, and I had no idea. Okay, blue crabs. I think this is beautiful. This is a really fun.
And that's how you say blue crab. That's for you, Ellen.
And this one's called, you are such a smarty pants. I swear.
She can take it. I know her. She can take it.
This is almost the color of your sweater.
It is.
That's a pretty one.
Okay. Do we tell
The
them
sweater.
why I wore this sweater?
Why did you wear this sweater?
Well, you know, we're celebrating 20 years of Crazy for You this week, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is one of the first yarns that I bought from Crazy for You.
But you know, and you know what's funny? She came in tonight and I knew, what the yarn was. Did you remember?
I have to look it up.
I did
But you
not
know
have to look it up.
I still have the receipt.
Of course you do.
Shoved in with the
Oh,
pattern.
that's too funny. So this, those of you who've been knitting a long time will remember that this is Barocco Glacé, which is a ribbon.
Yes, it is a beautiful ribbon, right?
This is a ribbon yarn too.
That's a ribbon yarn.
Remember
too.
cotton luster?
Cotton, yep,
From Rowan.
from Rowan, right?
Yeah.
So,
Have you ever knitted with a ribbon yarn, guys? Tell me in the chat if you've ever knitted with a ribbon yarn. It can be kind of a pain in the neck.
Yeah, because it kind of twists, and you feel like no, this isn't lying. It's supposed to lie flat. No, it doesn't lie flat. You know,
You got to get
but
one of those things.
Yeah, but it all works out in the end. You know, so.
Ellen wants you to know that it comes from Africa.
Africa. Okay,
African
you're right.
tea.
Africa. Yes, I actually I think I knew that, but it, you know.
Okay,
old brain. Right.
Is the accent on the first syllable or the second? Is the accent on the first syllable or the second syllable? Yes.
Rooibos.
The one that you carried that starts with a G. Yes, the one. Oh, yes, the Gadifra. Yes, what was that called? Arborea. Yes, you made that green. You had it in this color, and you made that tank with the little twisted cable. Yeah. Very pretty. All right. So tell me, do you like this format? I think this is the most fun. I like it.
Fun.
I'm still going to be doing some, I think, videos where we like discuss the yarn and review the yarn, but I think it would be fun to do it together.
Yeah, I think I'm assuming, I'm making the assumption here, but that you appreciate seeing the new stuff that comes in, since you can't all come into the shop on a regular basis, and to learn about, you know, new patterns and things that we've got, you know, whether it's yarn or needles or
stitch
gear,
stoppers that
or
we just
gear,
got.
you know, what you know, that you want to know what's happening here, and so I think, you know, that this is so different than it was when Ellen and I, when she first asked me about coming and talking and doing a chat, you know, just talking about quote my knitting journey, right?
Oh, right. That's what we were supposed to be talking about.
And so I started thinking about it, you know, and this is so different from the way it was when I started knitting, which was back in the 1960s.
Really?
50s.
You didn't start as a child?
1950s. As a child.
Oh, you were a child in the 50s, weren't you?
In the 40s, I was a child. I'm a very old lady. Having just had a birthday, I'm a very old lady.
Lucky you.
Yes, lucky me. I'm a very old lady. But you know, my first knitting experience, where did I buy yarn? I bought yarn at Woolworth's 5 and Dime.
Yes!
There is no Woolworth's 5 and Dime anymore. There's dollar stores, but there are no
But they don't carry yarn. That's where I got my first yarn.
Right.
Then I learned to knit.
That you learned. And
Woolworths.
And how did you learn to knit?
I had a book.
There was a booklet.
It was a pamphlet.
A pamphlet.
Like Susan Bates.
Absolutely.
And it said, "Thou shalt hold your needles like this."
Right. Yeah.
Which was a real pain, but I learned it.
Yeah. So I mean, there was nothing. You either learned from a person or you learned from a piece of paper, right? But the person was generally somebody that was within your family or your neighborhood or something like that. And And even when 20 years later, 30 years later, when I was knitting with friends, when I had kids and I was knitting sweaters for my kids, I had a knitting buddy when we lived in New Hampshire, and she and I would get together when the kids were, it was, talk about have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and a cigarette and knit. Because
that's a lot going on.
Shove the kids over someplace, and you would just, spend the time, talking and knitting, right? But there was no place to go.
No yarn stores?
There were no yarn stores.
Really?
No, there were no yarn stores. And if there was a yarn store, it wasn't a place like Crazy for You. It wasn't a place that had a table to come in and sit and get to know other knitters. No, it really was not. And this truly was a revelation when here, 20 years ago, I have been knitting for all of those years in, Massachusetts, in New Hampshire, in Virginia, right? And I come to, Southern Maryland. Who ever heard of Southern Maryland? Certainly not us, right? And then a friend of mine at church says, a friend of mine is opening up a yarn store over in Leonardtown. You need to go check it out. Right? And here I am, 20 years later.
Yes. I wonder who that was who said that. Oh. Was it Emily?
Yes.
Emily, because I remember asking Emily. Yep, I remember seeing
right.
Emily at a brunch thing because we had little kids the same age. And I said, I was just sort of thinking about it. And I said, do you knit? She goes, yes, but there's no place to buy yarn. And I said, if I opened a yarn store, would you shop there? She goes, oh, yes.
Yeah. She says, I have a friend who's going to open a yarn store.
That was so fun. Well, hello, lovely. We have somebody, Gladys from Russia.
Oh, wow.
She says, in my country, when I started to knit in 1986, it was impossible to buy needles or yarn, and yes, learn from a book. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So, Donna's birthday is this month, too. So what was the first thing that you knit?
Well, I sort of played around with just odds and ends of things, but the first truly real thing that I knit was a pair of Argyle socks.
I think that's appalling. I love it, though.
I mean, and the yarn.
And who taught you? I mean, was it just a book, a pattern? You just followed the pattern.
I just followed the pattern.
Right, one stitch at a time.
One stitch at a time.
Argyle socks, people.
On double points.
What size yarn? Like what size needles were those double points?
I think they were like 5s.
Oh, okay, so not so bad.
Not so bad, but they had the little bobbins. Because of the Argyle pattern.
The bobbins on the inside.
Little bobbins were hanging down from the thing. And so, it was just, one stitch at a time. So, and I figured out how you should twist the yarn so that you didn't have a hole when you changed the color.
You're so fabulous.
It was an exercise to, to just I'm going to do this. I can figure this out. So I did.
So Rita says, I used to go to the yarn store for my mother and pick up 3 or 4 balls of yarn that my mother had put on layaway. I love that. Once a week. 3 or 4 balls of yarn once a week, huh? Sounds like you don't fall. The apple doesn't fall too far. Of course, Rita needs 3 or 4 balls a day.
Right.
She knits like a fiend. Yep. So fun. Yes. So I'm glad you like this, Colleen. Yes, I think the socks, I mean, that whole Argyle thing, that's kind of a big deal.
Well, they were popular at the time.
Right.
We were talking about the mid-50s, and I mean, that truly was,
They were a miniature pair. Like, nobody was going to put their feet in these, right?
I wore them.
Oh, you did? These weren't the ones that hang in the...
No. These were for me.
Oh.
To put on my feet.
Yes. Well, where else might you put them?
Well, think about it. I mean, this was I said this was the mid-50s, probably 56, around 1956. Poodle skirts,
Oh my
right?
goodness.
White box shoes.
Yes.
Pat Boone, who lived in the town I grew up in.
He did?
He did.
He was so wholesome.
Because he was doing his show in New York City at the time. And so actually when I was 17 and got my driver's license, my friends and I used to drive around to his neighborhood on the hope that we would see him.
Did you ever see him?
No.
He probably had no business being outside.
But we knew where his house was. We knew where.
Did you have a secret fantasy that maybe he'd come out and fall in love with one of you, sort of?
Well, he was married.
Oh, he
we
was.
knew he was married. You know.
Oh, well.
I mean, that was a suburban town of, in New Jersey, outside of New York, where
Right.
there were a fair number of, well-known people lived in that,
Yeah.
town.
And Connecticut, too.
Yes.
A lot of people.
But if they went north to Connecticut or south, somewhat south, across the George Washington Bridge into Jersey.
Yes. To Jersey.
To Jersey.
Hey, you were not in today, but
Was
Barbara was in.
Barbara, yeah, I talked
Barbara was
to Barbara. I
in
talked
today.
to Barbara on the phone yesterday.
yeah,
Yes.
she came in today.
Yeah.
And I wanted to tell you, I got an email or a contact on the website from Kathy, and I'm not going to say her name out loud but anyway, she was a nurse and she emailed to say that she'd retired and they bought a place on the Virginia's Eastern Shore
Okay.
and that she had found the podcast and she was so happy that we were still here. And she asked if you were still, she said, is Ginny still with us? And I'm like, I said, yes, she is still with me. She is still with me. So very funny.
I'm an old lady.
You're not that old. I mean, if you were
I am.
90 maybe. Okay,
I'm
when
not
you
far from
When
it.
you get to be 90, you can be an old lady. Ooh, Nancy's in New York. Yes, such a great time. Let's see, 1956, the height of the Cold War. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Ellen's a history teacher.
Oh,
So she's always thinking about things like that. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So, well, Ellen, actually, I remember, let's see, I remember when FDR died and, Truman came in.
Do you?
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember hearing about it on the radio. So,
I was a babe in arms when Kennedy died.
yeah.
Well,
no.
you know that. I mean, you
Yeah,
had Jennifer.
Right. I had Jennifer.
Jennifer
right.
was a babe in
yeah,
arms.
Ellen is between my two kids as far
Yeah.
as age goes. So.
Yeah, a young old lady.
Yeah. We have the conversation about middle age, right? So,
Right.
what's middle age, right?
Yes.
What your father's definition.
My father said that middle age is halfway between your age and the age of the oldest person you know, which I always liked.
I have a couple of years to go before I'm middle aged.
How old is the oldest person you know?
I think. Well, actually, I think she's about 95.
Is she?
96.
Does she live here?
She does. She lives here, and she is still active and bright and smart and
Sharp.
Sharp. Absolutely.
Good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
I think my father would have been like that. Let's see, he was born in 1917, so he would have been well over 100, but the cancer got him.
Yeah.
But he was sharp, to the end.
Yeah.
Very, very sharp.
So that's what I'm working on. Sharp to the end.
Right. Well, did you do Wordle today?
I did.
Do you know I got Wordle on the second one?
Today?
Yes.
Oh my God.
The second one.
Yeah, Chuck.
It was a tough one.
It was a tough one.
It was weird.
It was really interesting. Chuck and I, my husband, and I do Wordle separately. It's sort of our own little thing. Our kids got us started on it, and they no longer do it. They do Connections instead of Wordle now.
I do them both.
All right. Well, but at any rate, Chuck and I still do the Wordle thing at breakfast time. So, and he was heading off today to do something, and he was complaining about Wordle, and I said, I haven't done it yet, Chuck. Don't say something. He was grumbling about what kind of word is, no. So my problem was my mind is into weird words, right?
Yes.
So it took me 5 to get down to where it was. I thought I had it at, I won't say. I thought I had it at 4, and then, it wasn't.
Rarely takes you 5. Nancy wants you to know that you look terrific.
Oh,
I
thank you.
concur.
Thank you. Not bad for an old lady, right?
Rita got Wordland 4 today. It was just luck. I don't know why. It was just luck how it came out for me, but
Actually, I think the best one was when the Wordle was
your first word.
Was Stein.
Oh, that's not your first word, though.
It's not my first word. It was my daughter's first word. She sends something. She said something. I was like, look, it's us.
That's so fun. Can you please tell me what yarn you used to knit the sailor striped sweater? Yes. This one. That is Summer Light for DK.
DK.
Summer Light DK,
DK
by Rowan.
By Rowan, yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You got it right here.
Yeah.
Isn't it cute?
Yeah.
Love this.
And it's called Lily.
Yeah, the pattern is Lily.
Lily, right?
Up
Lily.
here is the
I'm
camera.
sorry. Lily. I keep forgetting that. Lily by Quail Studio.
Yeah. It's super
Right.
cute.
And this is why I'm old-fashioned enough that I copy all this stuff up so that I can scribble all over it.
Yeah, so you write on your patterns.
I write on my patterns.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, okay, let's just say there was no Xerox machine and that was in a book. Would you write in your book?
No.
I wouldn't either.
Well, if I did, I would do a pencil, but
This is
mostly I
such
do
a pretty
computer.
fabric. This really is pretty.
Yeah.
And you carried your colors up the side.
I carried my colors up the side because it's just, it was like
And because
eight,
it
I think it was
seemed
8.
your stripes are going to match up.
Yes.
So pretty.
And I wrote down the number of rows that I had in my ribbing so that my ribbing will be the same number of rows on the other side.
Yay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
So, good. All right, I think we are pretty close to being out of time, but it is, you're absolutely welcome. So, where are you, Gladys? You're in Russia right now? Oh my goodness. Or are you a Russian
visiting or
native living in the
there?
United States? Let's see. Ellen Orr says, Truman came in 1945, so I doubt you remember him.
I do. I'm sorry, Ellen, I do. I remember him.
You were born before 1945.
I was born in 1940.
Okay.
There
So,
you go.
there you
I'm
go.
84 years old.
And you look amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What would you say if somebody asked you if you'd had work done?
No.
I mean, I would have to come up with something like catchy. Like, I don't think I need it. Do you? Because then what are they going to say, right?
Why do you ask?
What do you ask?
Believe me, I know plenty of people who have had work done.
How does it look?
Like they're surprised. Truly, I mean, I did know a number of people who went and had work done when they hit their 50s or their 60s. I had a really good friend who was concerned about what she referred to as her waddle.
That's what it's called.
It's the waddle, right? And so she had this whole thing done where, it was all, but, it was sort of like it didn't work and she had to have it done again.
Sort of like when you pick up too many stitches on your knitting.
I tell the story about when we lived in Virginia and my husband was doing a lot of traveling and the kids were gone. It was just the two of us at the house. And he was due in. We didn't live all that far from Dulles Airport. And he was due in and I was supposed to pick him up when he called to say that, he was there. The shuttle was going to be bringing him back to the airport. And so I would drive over to pick him up. The timing would work, right? So I'm just sitting there and I'm flipping through the TV, trying to see what's on. And ended up with this program that was about plastic surgery. And
Like a documentary kind of thing where they
Yes.
show it?
And they showed one about doing the face thing where, and when I went over to pick him up, the first thing I said to him when he got in the car was, if I ever think about having plastic surgery, tell me to remember that show I just saw.
Right,
Where
right.
they basically peel your face off.
Okay.
They peel your face
They
off.
absolutely do. It's like if you have a chicken breast with the skin on it. You know how you separate the skin from the meat, and then you like,
I'm never having that done.
No, I would never have that done. It's too scary. But
And if any of you out there have had it done, bless you.
It's a thing you could do, but yeah, no, I'm not.
No,
I'm not about it.
no. Let the waddle come, right?
Right. Oh my gosh. All right. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish on that note, Ginny.
I'm sorry. Ellen never knows what's going to happen with me.
I think that's why live is fun. You just never know what's going to happen or what you're going to say or I'm going to say. Right? It's all good though. Okay, so we'll have to do this again.
Okay.
Maybe we'll just do all the things. I mean, it would be so much more fun for me to review the yarns and do all that stuff together.
Yeah.
So you would do that. You only live down the hill.
I only live down, I am like 1.5 minutes away.
Right. So we'll maybe have to go with that. So if you guys love this, please do me a favor. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment, and maybe share it with your friends. Maybe send it to somebody who's a knitter that you know, and they might enjoy chatting with us too. And I would love that. So, yeah. So I'm trying to grow the channel. It's I think it's going to be even better with the two of us doing this, or two of, and sometimes Ginny and sometimes Mary. Wednesday nights are hard for Mary.
Wednesday nights are hard for Mary.
Yeah.
But Whitney's usually available.
Whitney's fun. Yeah, we have a good time with that. So, all right. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you guys for being here. We wish you could be right here with us, and this is the next best thing.
This is definitely the next best thing.
Yes, indeed.
All
right.
See you soon.
So we'll be back next week. All right. Thank you and good night.
Bye.